And welcome everybody to the 58th edition of the EGlaze Chronicles. It's your boy EGlaze on this beautiful Tuesday, August 18th, still the beautiful month of August, which I so appreciate. Great month. And today I have a friend of mine that I haven't talked to, interviewed in has it been a year? I don't know,
Yeah,
but it's been a while.
it's been a long
And
while.
she's an author. And when I first met her, she had not just, but she brought us this book, and I still have it. The reality. I gotta get my camera right. Author Angela Marshall, Reality to Rags to Riches, the story and life of an ex NFL wife. She's also I've seen she's done a lot of great things around the country. She speaks well, speaks well. She speaks to a lot of people. She speaks to people. She tells people her story, and it's a story that I think everybody has to hear. So, everybody, please welcome my friend Angela Marshall. How are you, Angela?
Hello. Hey, E. I am doing amazing. Thank you so much. I am humbled to be asked to be on the renowned EGlaze Chronicles. Oh my
Here we go.
God. Like, I must be living right.
Here we go. Here
I
you
must
go.
be doing something right.
Here you go. And let's start. We'll start with this, and I think it's important to know. Since we last talked and we interviewed, I've seen you do interviews around the country, whether it's in person. I remember last year, I think you was going to the Essence Fest. You did some
Yes.
things down there. You've done a lot. Talk about this whirlwind tour you've been on, with interviews and talking to people all around the country.
I will say this. I actually had no aspirations to be a speaker when I penned the book. I really penned the book for two reasons. One, to free myself, to release myself. Because as you know, we as humans, we assess what we want. When we see people, we stereotype them, we run them up one pole and down the next with what we think they've gone through or they did or didn't do. And so for me, being able to just write just a small snippet about my life, certain areas, which is why the book is titled Reality, Rags, and Riches. And I talk about all three of those sections.
Mm-hmm.
It has just freed me so much. Like in a climate now where we're isolated or we're having to deal with our feelings just internally. I'm telling you, when you are transparent and you're truthful, one, with yourself, and then two, with others, it's like the sky is certainly not the limit, is above the limit for me. So I have been on this global impact now to just influence as many lives as I can to live vicariously through themselves. I've had so many people that always say to me, I wish I had your life, or I wish I could experience XYZ, some of the things that, life has afforded me to be exposed to. And while those things were great, I don't want anybody sending me any messages about money or NFL or things that that I had kind of become accustomed to, because those things were great. My message is one of more of an internal struggle that I had, but it was during that particular lifestyle. So of
Let's
course,
talk about.
people. I'm sorry.
No, let's talk about that for a little bit. You were. Excuse me. I got a little thing going, a little crazy back here. The book deals with your life, and it talks about your life as an NFL wife,
That's
and how
correct.
you had to deal with that internal struggle and that fight and things about that. Give people who haven't heard, it's not many, a little background on what the book deals with and your struggle and why it's named the way that you named it.
Absolutely. So reality, it starts just chronicling me from a little girl, different, I don't want to call it demons that I struggle with, because that's such a harsh word, especially when you're a child. You don't know anything about that. But me as an adult, that's really the only way that I can term it. It was different things that I battled with, that I dealt with from a child, like to youth, and then teenage, and then young adult, and then going into a marriage with that particular lifestyle, with the NFL lifestyle. So I talk about reality. I talk about the rags. The rags piece actually was the most depressing time in my life, where I share about, I had all of the, I guess, the fine, what some would deem the finest things in life, or the access to the finest things in life. And where you would think that that would just be the end all be all, that would be everything that you need, you just be happy, happy, joy, joy all the time. And I wasn't, but I wasn't because I had not done the work for me to understand my true riches. So the book is just kind of like progression, I guess, if you would, reality, certain things that I had to go back in my past and go back to face, to forgive, and then to forge ahead. You know, I like to term that when I'm talking to my mentees, I call that the 3 F's. You got to face yourself, you got to forgive yourself, and then you got to forge ahead. So reality, just being able to, all of the things that I felt as a child, as a teen, an unwed, pregnant mother, different things, not being able to finish high school on time. I mean, it's just a lot of stuff that or that I was, that I dealt with, that I suppressed, never talked about, never, released to anyone. And I just walked around with it for quite a bit of my life. So going forward, I realized that that attributed to my rags area, which was really me just being depressed, having anxiety, low self-esteem, no self-identity. And it's crazy because I didn't have a self-identity, but others had an identity that they were putting on me. And that's what really agitated me, I guess, the most, because when you see a person, of course, I'm not going to walk outside with all of the woe is me,
Right.
all of the problems of the world. I don't have like these little hashtags, different things that I'm going through at that particular time. But I just got really tired of people assessing what they thought my life was like, and I just decided to pin every emotion, everything that really, really held me down and held me back, so that I could be free. And that's what I exhort people to do. Free yourself. Free yourself.
Could you say that um, brought sorry. When you don't bring yourself to something and you bring a shell of yourself to anything, a relationship, a job, to anything that you're doing, it could really hinder you in whatever relationship in it. And you found that out during this book. And that's what's so special about this book. You said you had past issues. So no matter who you was with or what you were doing and all the riches and everything that you was a part of, it didn't matter because you weren't feeling yourself. Explain to people, because people think you're an NFL wife. You got everything. You're a mother. You got everything. But that wasn't the truth.
Well, that's always a myth, I think, that is assessed to anyone that they feel has a certain success in areas that they don't. I won't just attribute it to NFL or a person of power. If you think that I've got it all together financially or spiritually or physically, yeah, there's going to be some hate and there's going to be some, rumors and gossip going around. But I was not complete. And that is so crazy because once upon a time, I had access to, I'm saying, like, I could write a check probably for a small subdivision. But it was the lowest point in my life because I did not know who Angela was. I had not identified, I had not defined who Angela was. Angela didn't know who Angela was in any area of her life. I was conflicted, I was torn. And I can't really say that from my grandparents, I guess, or my family members, or whatever, because I don't really look at it. I don't view it as people outside of you have to give you that definition. I think it's just like a progression. I think it's something that you just have to go through, from the moment that you are here on earth to you figure out, you become, you start molding and creating who you want to be and why you want to be that. And by me not doing that, I was tossed to and fro. But again, I want to make this really, really clear, because so many people, they play the blame game. They point the other man, the man, the white man, the black man, the soul man, the whoever, holding me back and holding me down. And don't get me wrong, I know that there are certain people that are in positions of power or in place that try to suppress you, but it's a mental thing. Like, you have to rise above it. You have to go beyond it. And I think that's a lot of times that's where we get stuck. for me, that's where I got stuck. It was stuck in the woe is me, all of these problems that, I had not dealt with. But you're right. And to your point, when you say it doesn't matter, because I've had a lot of people say that too. Oh, you're bashing him. Now he's a former NFL player. Y'all don't have that lifestyle you're talking about. No, that's not it. You're right. It could have been, Timmy the garbage man. And I probably would have made his life just as horrible as I made my ex-husband's life, because I did not know who I was, who I truly was, who I wanted to be, why I wanted to be. Like now, if you ask me who Angela is, and a lot of people try to attribute, she's a motivated speaker, she's an author, she's a creative writing consultant, she's a mother, she's this. No, that's what I do. That's not who I am. Who I am is a person that is on a global mission to positively impact lives through my words, work, and wisdom. And how I'm going to do that? I'm going to do that with my light. I'm going to do that with my fight. And I'm going to do that with my flight.
All rhyming and stuff.
Muhammad Ali.
We're talking to author Angela Marshall of, I can get this thing right, author of Reality to Rags to Riches, the story and life of an ex-NFL wife. Talk to me. What did this book do for you personally? I know, a lot of people say we write books. Everybody want to write books just to, some people want to do it financially. Some people want to do, but what did it do for you to write this book and get your story out there?
Well, I will say this. Writing Reality to Rags to Riches was the F in freedom. Now, putting it out there was me throwing myself to larger wolves. I mean, let's just be real, because a book of that magnitude, anytime you're talking about something, and it gives people an opportunity to criticize or throw their 2 cents in, it makes it a little more difficult for you to live if you don't have the right intentions for why you're putting your story out there in the beginning. So for me, I always wanted to put my story out there because I knew that it would help people. All along, different ones that were really close to me that knew my true story about myself internally, it was helping them, it was impacting them. So I knew that the book had the magnitude to just, do really, really good things as far as giving people a positive mindset that they too could live vicariously through themselves. Now, some of the things that I put in the book, my publisher initially was like, are you sure you want to say that? Are you sure you want to talk about this? Because once you put it out there, you can't take it back. And you're going to have a lot of people that's going to talk trash and say this or that. But it was at that moment, E, that I was like total free. It was like skeletons. It was like cycles. It was like chains. It was like curses just started leaving me. And that's really the only way that I can describe it with writing the book. Of course, anything we do when you're talented and you're skilled, God has given us the ability for us to be rewarded. And that's, income. That's making money. Yeah. But that's such a small part of it for me now, because when I have 17-year-olds, 20-year-olds that are coming to me that once upon a time thought, being the video girl was well, I'm probably gonna get some messages about that too. But, being something in the limelight, let me just put it that way, that it was like the most amazing thing ever. And I tell them that does not make your problems go away. That doesn't make your issues go away. If it does anything, it intensifies it. It thrusts you in a certain, category to where if you don't know who you are, you'll be tossed, you'll be sifted, you'll be shifted, you'll be, just all over the place with trying to be a people pleaser. And I am no longer that. And that's why a lot of people, when they ask me, describe where you are now, I'm unmasked, I'm unchained, and I'm definitely untamed. Untamed, not lawless, not a lawbreaker or anything like that. But when I say untamed, that just means I don't care. Like I 100% believe in when I tell my truth, other people's lives don't matter. So that's what I live by. I'm totally transparent. I don't care If they ask me something that they feel is a little invasive or maybe on a personal side, because if it's going to help someone, me being able to talk about, some sort of circumstance that I was in, consequences that I was in because of it, but then I overcame it, I turned that stumbling block into a stepping stone, sign me up.
Sign you up. Shout out to Randy, who's watching from Manila. Thank you,
Huh?
sir.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Randy. Uh,
Hi,
you talk,
Randy.
yeah, you talk about a little bit. You talk about dealing with family as a child, and also as a mother, and as a ex-wife. How has family evolved for you during this process? And I mean by evolving, have you been able to deal with and support family because of so much what they meant to you throughout, and probably had a lot to. And there's a lot of this in the book about family. What has family meant for you in this process of healing and growing through this process?
Family to me, has always been fundamental. That's like your base, that's your foundation. And it's still that for me. Now, my family isn't perfect. My friends aren't perfect. I'm not perfect. So of course there's disagreements. There are spats. There are, some little thorns in the side there. Sometimes I'm one. But I will say that since I have written and opened up so much about different emotions, different energy, just feelings that I had hid for so long, I'm getting a lot more support. And that's why, as you and I were talking about before we actually went on, communication is key. I'm sorry. I really feel like if there's a problem, if there's a situation, instead of sweeping it under the carpet or suppressing it, you really have to get it out and talk about it. Now, with that being said, are you going to step on some toes and hurt some feelings? Probably. Are people going to challenge you and say, "Oh no, I didn't do this, or I didn't do that, or how could you feel so and so?" Because feelings get caught up in it. So that's just a part of it. But family for me is everything. And that's why I vow I'm one that will definitely put family and faith before fame. I often joke with some of my closest friends, and I say, I'm headed on a certain path, and there's certain shows that I would love to be on, certain magazines that I would love to be interviewed with. But if my family, and this is the honest truth, if there's something going on a particular day, and I had to make a choice between, let's just say, Oprah or something of that along that magnitude, and it was, let's just say my favorite aunts, if it was her birthday and they were doing something for her, that's where I'm going. I'm going to be with my family, and I will try to reschedule everything else around that, because and yeah, those things are still in place as far as those people, those magazines and whatnot. But I just look at it as, if that shot is no longer there for me, it's not a big deal. Just being with my loved ones, because I won't be able to lie on my deathbed and go back and say, "Oh, I wish Oprah was by my side," because she probably won't be.
Right.
But my auntie will be.
Right.
My best friends will be. Hopefully, they can be by my. They'll be by my side. So it's just, I think you really have to understand the dynamics of it. And I know a lot of people, we've been conditioned and we've been programmed to chase money, and money over everything, and cash rules everything around me. Well, yes, you have to. I believe you have to have money as a resource to to live and to function in this day and time. But I'm a really big supporter of you better get yourself right with your family and your faith. Because I don't think dollars or that stocks and IRAs and all that, I don't think that can bury you.
That's true. But let me ask you this: you mentioned that you're not these things. You're not you Angela Marshall isn't this, but you have created
Yes.
being an author, being a creative writer, being a motivational speaker, the business side of what you've created. Let's talk about that for a little bit, because it's important. I think people need to know that, because in your growth, you've created these things. And what have you learned from that and built from that? And, this is a new, I guess, new Angela, as they say, that you've grown into. Talk about those aspects of your life right now.
Well, let me say this. I don't really view myself as being new or reinvented. It's who I was created to be all along. I just had to align with that purpose and that path. I veered from it, if you would. So now I'm back on it. And how you can tell you're on your path, on your purpose, things that normally would upset me or ruffle my feathers or like bring on anxiety is gone. This is the most freest that I've ever been in my entire life. So being able from a creative side, being a motivational presenter, pretty much being able to share all of my life lessons, my learnings, my light with people, and seeing how it actually helps them to cultivate a plan for themselves and do better and be better in life, it brings me so much joy. And then I'm just good at running my mouth anyway. From a creative content consulting standpoint, I pride myself on just being able to dazzle, to wow, and bring words to life for people. I don't know if your audience can see behind me on my board here, on my banner, I have words. The heart and mind obey them. So that's why we have to be very careful. And it goes back to just biblical, scripture where as a person thinketh, as a man thinks, so is he, or so are they. And then you have to be careful because life and death are in the tongue. Either you're speaking, greatness upon your life, or you speaking grime. One of the two.
Right.
So from that standpoint, being able to emerge, or I guess grow into this business path that I was, I believe I was put here for. It's been very, very, I guess it's been a road that has led me to become just this person on a global mission to take the world by storm by any means necessary. So it's been really good. Now, being a content writer for some of the private organizations, like I do bios, I do essays, I do procedures, grant writing. Also help other people tell their story now. I'm a ghostwriter. I have several clients that I ghostwrite for. And again, being able to help free them, not so much as my work on the book, but when we have conversations, when I'm conversing with my clients and they're telling me certain errors or certain parts of their life, and just watching them either break down and then turn that sadness into joy, because it's like a freedom. It's freeing for them. Then I know my job is done. It has nothing to do with, don't get me wrong, I like writing them invoices and, getting them dings on that Cash App and that Square. but that's not the greatest part for me. When I get a call from them and they say, you know what, we talked about this, and God, like I went home and I talked to my wife, or I went home and I called my son, or whatever. It's like the greatest feeling ever. So that's what walking in purpose and walking on my path has truly, truly done for me.
Well, we're finished with this. Almost finished, and you're here with EGlaze Chronicles with my author, creative writer, motivational speaker, walking in her path, global. She's global now, y'all. She's doing global. She's global. Angela Martin. You talked about it, but I don't know if people really understand how much faith matters to you and what it has done for you. Talk about what faith has done for you to get you through and to that next, and get you back on your path that what you were needing to walk on and what you were supposed to be walking on, and getting back on that purpose so people can see that.
Absolutely. Faith to me is the cornerstone, it's the rock, it's the foundation for everything that has groomed me to be who I am and what I am right now. Growing up in a church, in a Black Baptist church, might I add, you get all of the scripture, you get the word, you get the where people are reproving you and they're correcting you during your walk. And as a child, you don't really think that those things make a huge difference in your life, or it just doesn't resonate with you at that time. But I will say this, every seed that has ever been planted, I'm talking about from teachers to other church members, church family members that are, that are faith-based. I see that now coming into fruition for me. I can tell you every branch, every root, every trunk, every leaf, and where it came from. And that's just how walking in faith, as opposed to the world mind or walking in fear, which I think it kind of gets created in us, just from other people and their own experiences. And I know that that's why it's so important that we each create our own faith walk. So now I'm just this person who I want more than anything to just make sure that everything that I do, that I'm giving glory to God, that I'm godly, that I'm honoring that which the shoulders and the steps and the everything that has been ordered and put in place for me by those before me. I just want to make sure that that's what I'm doing.
That's what's up. So what's next for Angela Marshall? What do we have going? Where can they find you? Get that all out there. Tell us what's going on. I know we all in our own bubbles, in our own rooms, and doing a lot of these things. But other than that, what else do you have going on? And we'll get to just talk about that first. Then we can tell you where they can find you and get all your stuff and all that good stuff. So what you got going on next?
Well, I have just been signed on as one of the phenomenal Find a Way tour speakers with Merrill Hodge. Yeah. Thank you. That's really, really huge because
That's awesome.
being selected for that, after you do your submissions and then you have to do your interviews and everything, it really touched me that he had been following me and even interested in me on LinkedIn. And that's why, let me tell you, your viewers and your audiences, your audience, you got to be careful about what you're doing because you just never know who's watching you. And this is someone who has been watching me on LinkedIn for almost 2 years. So I signed with him, and then, of course, with the COVID restrictions in place and all of that, once all of that gets worked out, we'll have an opportunity to go a little larger with that. I'm still doing my creative content consultant work. I have quite a few private organizations that I write for. I'm going to continue doing that. Going to continue ghostwriting. I have another project that I'm working on for myself, and it's going to be Sentiments by Stone. And that's just where all of the inspirational, motivational posts, different things that I've said over the years, I'm going to put into a couple of volumes and get that published. And, we're not going to stop at that. It's just me sharing my journey, my testimony, my message with the hopes of being able to help lives, help encourage other people. That's what we're going to do. That's what I was put here for, and we're not going to stop. Being able to get in touch with me, your audience can Google the wonderful world of Google, Angela Marshall, or I am on every social media platform. So I'm sure, they can get in touch with me if they want to.
There she go. Basically, she's on every platform. Go find her. Angela Marshall.
Find me.
Angela Bestseller Marshall on Facebook. So I love that. That's Arthur. No, it's Arthur. One of them. She's everywhere, y'all. Go check her out. Just want to say I'm proud of you. It's been great to see you grow over this period of time. Continue walking your path. And for all y'all, please, if you honestly follow Angela, she's motivational. She even dances a step or two every now and then. If you catch her, you can catch her dancing and catch you doing a little dancing. She's always on private jets. She's big time like that. She's private jetting all over. She's, so check her out over that. Thank you so much, Angela. And for, in this episode, make sure y'all catch it. You can watch it. It'll be on YouTube and all that. For Angela Marshall, we are not going to put a label on her because she got so many. It's your boy EGlaze. Make sure you check it out. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.